So we ring at a small village church called Hyington, which is just outside Darlington. It's a, how is it, 1500 weight 6, and medieval bells, 3 medieval bells, so quite a historic ring, but not easy to ring. We have been working very cooperatively with the other ringers in the Darlington area, so I thought it might be a good thing to start off with a little bit of a geography lesson, if you don't mind. So we are right up in the north of the country. Are you going to move on? Let's try to move on. There we are. The northernmost tower in the Durham and Newcastle Association is right up at Berwick, and we are right down at the bottom. So there are 3 districts, 72 towers, of whom 43 have active bands. Art is making slow inroads into the north, right across from east to west, but there are significant gaps in coverage. Our ringing recovery survey suggested that 50% of the towers would appreciate some support in recruitment and retention, teaching bell handling and early method ringing. We are based in the southern district, which is right down at the bottom of our area. And as you can see, we are the smallest district. We have 18 towers and only 9 of those have active bands. So I just wanted to paint the picture of where we were coming from. We do actually border very close. We are very close to the border with the Cleveland and North Yorkshire branch. And we have very good cross cooperation with them, and also with ringers in the central district of the Durham and Newcastle Association. So the towers in Darlington that were involved in initially setting up the teaching centre are St Cuthbert's, which is an 1800 weight 8, a low ceiling, odd struck, lots of enthusiasm, but not a lot of experience. St John's, which is the old railway church, looks quite strange because it should have had a spire on the top, but it didn't. It's a 1000 weight 8. They only have 1 ringer. And sadly, there are structural issues there, and the congregation is dwindling. Holy Trinity, which is a 700 weight 6, historically had a very strong band, but there are now only 2 ringers who appeared to have no desire to get the bells ringing. However, they are an ideal ring of bells for teaching new recruits. And then us at Hyington, so we are a little way out of Darlington, but not too far. As I said, 1500 weight 6. We have very busy practices, I think particularly since I've been using the art scheme to teach, and we're supported by ringers from other towers. We could do with a few more Sunday morning ringers, and that kind of is the situation we're in now. So why did we set up the teaching centre? Holy Trinity struck us as being the ideal base for a teaching centre. They're light and easy bells, and there are good facilities in the church, some toilets and facilities for making coffee. We were the only 2 art teachers in the area, but we had worked very cooperatively during lockdown, and we were very keen to continue this. So what did we do? First of all, Chris produced a paper which was presented to the PCC at Holy Trinity, and the new vicar was really keen for us to get the bells ringing on Sundays again. We knew we would have to have the existing tower captain on board, and we were lucky we got support from the Durham and Newcastle Association, including funding of a simulator and laptop, so that we could ring on tide bells at any time. And this is being used as a trial model for the other 2 districts. And we're very grateful to the encouragement we've had from art in terms of resourcing, support, and so on. So we started up on Saturday mornings in October 2019, as Leslie's, well, not quite. We started up with an Art M1 course before we started the teaching centre to get other ringers to become teachers. And we set off with great enthusiasm in January 2020. And then, of course, we all know what happened. COVID came along and that was it. So since restarting in September 2021, We went back, first of all, to provide one-to-one handling sessions for existing ringers, because we've had quite a few who were a little bit wobbly, ringing again, and weren't quite sure about ringing on their own bells. So we did one-to-one sessions with them. We had 3 new recruits who started in October 2021 and another 3 in November. 3 of those achieved level 1 by the end of January 2022, and the rest by the end of March. Towards the end of the year, another teacher and a ringer he had been teaching joined us. And then in March, we ran an M1 refresher course for teachers who had not achieved accreditation within the 2-year time limit, but were still interested in doing so. And from there, that was the starting point. Where we are now, we have 7 ringers and a few more now working at either level 2 or level 3. We put this presentation together before the Queen died, so we were slightly out of date, aren't we, with our figures. 3 more learning bell handling, again, a couple more on the way now. We have 4 accredited teachers accredited with M1 and 2 more very nearly there. Including Carol, who's here with us now. So if I miss anything, Carol, or you think I'm, something I should have said, shout up. And then at M2, I'm the only M2 accredited teacher, but we have got another 5 who've done the M2C course and are working away for accreditation. We have 6 regular sessions during the week and handling sessions by arrangement, depending on the recruits' availability. And most important of all, I feel, is that all the bells, bells in all the towers are now run regularly on Sunday morning, apart from St John's, which sadly the bells are out of action, and it does look as if the church is going to be closed. So we're just keeping an eye on the situation there. So, Hareworth joined the teaching centre, so that was an extra church in the group, extra teacher and ringers who come to join us at the teaching centre. Okay, so we sent out, in the end of the summer, we sent out a survey to our learners and to the teachers who've been involved in the teaching centre, so that we could do this presentation basically, so that we'd have an idea of what they thought had gone well, what we could have done better, and see if they had any ideas for the future. The lovely learners, they're a really great group of learners, were full of praise for what we've done. So here are the key points. They've realised the benefits of learning together and being able to support each other. And they certainly do that, even to the extent of them helping one of the ringers to get up into St Cuthbert's because she hasn't got a head for heights. So they're brilliant. They like working to a structured programme, and they like being able to see the progress they're making, and they come with their books and they desperately want to tick. They know what's coming next, they like that, and they like the fact that nothing gets missed out, and they feel confident that they're going to become good ringers. Rotating the teachers has meant that students hear the same message from different people, perhaps expressed in a slightly different way, and perhaps with extra tips, so they've appreciated that. They like our approach. We definitely work to a sort of positive can-do approach with consistent feedback. They feel that the small group sessions give the teachers a chance to focus on particular skills at an appropriate level. And they felt that individual needs have been taken into account during every practice. They all said that they felt very welcome, they had lots of fun, and that the coffee breaks provided an opportunity for socialising and for discussion amongst each other. The teachers also highlighted many positives. And I think this is, as a group, we definitely felt that teaching in a group has made improvements to our teaching. Even those of us who've been teaching for a while, we feel that we're better teachers as a result of having worked together with other teachers. The positive, successful team approach seems to have had a multiplying all the positives effect. We appreciate having the arts scheme giving us a structured programme to work to, and all the documentation there to support our teaching. Having more teachers coming on has definitely spread the workload, and we're now at the stage where we don't have to have all the teachers at every session, which is how we were at the early stages. We also found it was invaluable to have a spare teacher, particularly when we were doing handling sessions, to give an extra pair of eyes, so that sometimes you see things from an angle or from a different point of view, and they're able to give feedback via the teacher, or to be an experienced demonstrator when we needed them. We very much have a collaborative approach to teaching, so we work together, share ideas and approaches, and solve the problems together. So, for instance, we had a problem with working out where your thumb should be on the back of the sally, and we had a great discussion, didn't we, about how we should where it should be and what we should correct and what we shouldn't. And we found that meeting together as a team was quite a useful way to explore the way that we were approaching our teaching and how we can best support each of our individual students, who are all very different in the way that they learn. I think it's also given us the opportunity to take it in turns to teach different recruits, and to find out the different ways in which they learn. For everyone, we felt that having sufficient teachers and able to continue teaching right through the summer holiday season, which was great. We didn't have to miss any teaching sessions. We have the simulator so that we can ring anytime we like. We don't annoy the neighbours, and we don't even need a full band to be able to operate. The bells are great. They're ideal for learners. There's easy access to the tower, and you can get up to see the bells very easily. We can get up to tie them, and so on. And we're able to, this is definitely an extra positive, that we're able to provide support to other teachers and learners from the surrounding area. And we have quite a few learners who've come in to join the Teaching Centre operation, not just from Durham and Newcastle Association, but from across the border in North Yorkshire. So what have we learnt? First of all, the first thing we learnt, that at the very early stages when we were teaching bell handling, we needed to find some way of sharing our teaching logs for those recruits, so that we could provide continuity for our learners. And we are also now working on a way of communicating progress after they've completed level 1, to provide better continuity, particularly as our students are also attending different practices. We use a spreadsheet system, and we use Google Docs, don't we, to share everything. And the students have access to that as well. We realised that we needed to consider everyone's individual needs as learners. And this is something that we talked about. We talked about it when we did our art training, but particularly when we were teaching such a big group, it became very obvious that their needs were very different and they learn differently. We also realised that we needed to be aware of the needs of different age groups. For instance, giving older ringers sufficient rest time in between ringing, repeating skills, and so on. Some of our newer teachers need more encouragement to build their confidence and flexibility. We have a consistent approach to teaching, especially level 2 to level 3. We need to have a consistent approach to teaching, particularly level 2 to level 3. And we had one tower who thought, right, we've finished, we've got them handling, we can go straight on to round to call change, straight into plain hunt. And we had to say, hang on a minute, we need to make sure that we've got all those bell control handling skills at level 2 sorted out before we go any further than that. So we needed to make sure that everyone was mastering level 2 skills before they went on to level 3. We did realise that it was very important to share opportunities for leading practices. Once we got onto level 2 and level 3, by default, Chris took on the lead role, but then it became obvious that actually we could all benefit from leadership opportunities, and we've distributed responsibilities so everybody has an opportunity to run practices on a regular basis. So all 6 of our teachers are leading sessions now. And we have encouraged our ringers to attend local practices, But then we became aware that actually by sending out so many new learners, that actually puts the pressure on tower captains who are trying to meet the needs of all their ringers, not just the learners. So that was something that we hadn't really anticipated, that we learned that we needed to be a bit more aware of. The ideas for the future, we have had quite a bit of discussion about when learners stop being learners. When does our role at the teaching centre end? Because we do need learners to progress into local practices so that we can make room for new recruits, because we have got people coming through. What other opportunities can we give for more experienced ringers? So things like small group sessions, a series of ringing up and down workshops, or advanced sessions, for example, surprise minor sessions. Those are all things that we would like to do, but it's a question of time and resources, really. We don't make very much use, obviously use the simulator, but we don't make much use of any of the other technology. For instance, we haven't got a website at the moment, although that is one of the things that we're working on. We don't have a Facebook page. We're hoping that we might be able to set up a resource bank. And there's quite a few of our recruits are keen to use Able and Mobile, so we need to give them a bit of support with that. But that's sort of things that we need to do, but we're not doing at the moment. We would like to be able to make better use of the simulator, for instance, offering opportunities for listening practice, for practicing slow and quick ringing and things like that. And so as teachers, I think we need to do a bit more research about what we can do to make better use of the simulator. And we want to, as we're serving a range of different towers, we need to think about how we're going to tackle recruitment next, whether we do a recruitment drive to the teaching centre or whether the towers do the recruitment drive and but the learners are taught at the teaching centre. That's something that we need to consider for the future. I would say that our general observations are that when we started off, we knew what our aims were, which were to get all the bells in Darlington and Hindon ringing on a Sunday morning, and to provide opportunities for new teachers and to new people to become teachers. But we didn't really have a plan of where we were going. There weren't very many of us to start off, and we were constantly tweaking how we operate, depending on the speed of learning, availability of teachers and learners. And so we have been reviewing things regularly as we've been going along. Communication, good communication is essential, as you know, so we say so often, don't we? But it needs to be worked on all the time. Communication about the progress that our recruits are making, communication about who's coming to which sessions, which of our teachers are going to be available, and so on. And that has led us to identify that there is quite a significant administrative load, and that shouldn't be underestimated. We feel that we've been able to achieve so much more, and we've been able to cement the art approach in our area. So we're definitely the cooperative approach has been beneficial for ringing in the Darlington area. It is really important to maintain good relationships with all stakeholders, and we have particularly been concerned about the ringers at Holy Trinity. We were using their tower as a teaching centre, and we wanted to make sure that they were supportive of everything we were doing, even though they aren't as engaged as we would like them to be. Although we're working on that at the moment, yeah, getting better. I think we've talked about this before, and certainly in art training, and don't undervalue the social side of your ringing. It's been great, and we've got a super band of learners and teachers, and we enjoy being together, and it's great fun, isn't it? And the other thing that I think, and again, it's been said before, but don't forget to value the teachers and helpers as well as the recruits. In our area, we're currently working on an alphabet series of surprise minor court appeals. Every couple of months we have lunch together, and then we have rearing 2 or 3 court appeals with no learners. So that's just for us to just keep us, on our toes. We prepared this presentation way back before the Queen died, and obviously it was put back to now. And so a little update from since between now and then. We had our first teaching centre outing. We went to 3 Towers in Durham, had a great time. We felt, as the teachers, I think there were 5 teachers and about 10 learners. The teachers felt it was quite a stressful exercise, but the learners loved it. They were just buzzing when we got back, which was brilliant. And we even managed to ring on we had a sneaky ring on the mini ring, which the undergraduates were using to draw in recruits for the Durham University Ringing Society. And even more stop press, our first learner, we've run our first court appeal this evening with one of our new recruits covering. So she's on her way to the first step of level 3, which is very exciting. And so that is really a quick whistle through of what we've done and where we are. We're obviously quite a small setup, and we are very happy to answer any questions, or if you've got any suggestions that might help us, then we'd be very grateful.